So being taller than your opponent is pretty great. Everyone wants to cut weight and be bigger than their opponents in there, and some guys have the build where they can cut and be built like a spooky, scary skeleton, with extreme examples being people like Sean Woodson, and they reap a ton of benefits, provided they don't give up loads of strength and they don't gas out horribly because of their awful weight cut. One of the massive benefits is that you don't even really need to learn defense. If you've seen Shavkat Rakhmonov fight, basically he throws punches and then tries to lean back. Whereas Ziam, who we're talking about today, just steps back when the opponent starts. Like, that's it. If they don't back him up to the fence, then he's going to keep backing up and they're going to fall short. It's not just that your reach is further than the other guy. Anytime he's punching up, he's losing reach, because your reach is at its greatest extent directly in front of your shoulder. As soon as you start reaching up or down, you lose reach. Obviously, the jab is great for long guys. The knee is phenomenal if you're taller than the opponent. Just look at Carlos Prates versus Jack Della Maddalena the other day, particularly if your opponent wants to level change or wants to move their head so they're standing a bit lower in their stance. Oh, that knee's going to give him hell. Jonathan Haggerty was using it to keep Yuki Yosa from getting off combinations. Angela Hill just did it to Zhong Jingnan. One that's often overlooked is the left hook to the body. Boxing wisdom has sort of taught people that, like, the jab and the cross belong to the long man, the hooks and uppercuts belong to the shorter man, but what really happens is that the inside space, if you can get inside the reach of the taller guy, you can turn your shoulders quicker, you can get off those punches quicker. There have been many, many tall guys who have wicked left hooks to the body, and they can throw them from long range, so they can use it as an out-fighting punch, where their much shorter opponents might have to use it as an in-fighting punch. Great examples would be Tommy Hearns, Gerald McClellan, two guys from the Kronk Gym lineage. Fantastic long left hooks to the body. Another example would be Carlos Zarate, fantastic knockout artist, and he loved his left hook to the body so much he would use it in place of a jab. That would be like his lead. So Ziam loves the left hook to the body. And of course you can go left hook to the body, and if you start leaning deep to your left to set up that left hook to the body, and then you stop yourself a little short and come up with the left uppercut to the head, that's a fantastic setup. A guy who does that really well, one of my favourite fighters at the moment, Raymond Muratalia. Not a particularly long guy, but fantastic with the left hook to set up the left uppercut. But what I really want to talk about today is this thing that Fares Ziam does along the fence, which is straight up gorgeous. Locks his hand under the leg, steps to the middle, picks the man up like he's a small child, and sweeps the standing leg. Now, you may be familiar with this from Khabib Nurmagomedov doing it to Conor McGregor. If you remember that fight, Conor McGregor, through both legal and illegal means, was doing a very good job of keeping Khabib from locking his hands. So Khabib along the fence really likes to get his hands locked in the body lock behind Conor McGregor's back, and then he steps his right foot to the middle, turns everything around this way, and hits what's called a power twist, which sets up either a big throw or a back take or a second trip. So when you watch the McGregor and Poirier fights, they do a very good job of just controlling this hand the whole time. They are entirely on the defense, which sucks. So when he can, instead of looking for the body lock, he punches his hands between the legs, steps to the middle there, and then lifts McGregor and trips him. There's a really nice one he does to Dustin where he steps around behind him and kicks the leg out that way. So here. And again here. Locks the hands between the legs in a second. There. Kicks out the back leg. Lovely. But here's the example of, like, why being tall fucking rocks. Because Khabib Nurmagomedov is obscenely strong. He's a beautiful technician. And he gets McGregor all the way up in the air like this. Back fucking arched. Manages to get his hands all the way up here like he's fucking cleaning McGregor. Meanwhile, when Fares Ziam does it, locks his hands here, steps to the middle with his left leg, picks him up, he just stands upright. So this is such a funny image of this dude Fig Leg just kicking like it. I mean, it's like a child being carried up to their room when they don't listen to you. And then he can just sweep the standing leg. Well, it's not even the standing leg because the guy's so far off the floor. Whereas Nurmagomedov typically has to make up for that with dope foot sweep timing. So this is the fight with Mike Davis. It was so fucking good. Can't recommend this fight enough. There's a load of stuff we can get into about the pinch headlock and all sorts in this fight. But this is the standard head inside single, lifting the guy along the fence, switches off to the single here, head on the inside, picks him up, doesn't even kick out the standing leg there because they're very tired and it's late in the fight. Here's the same shit against Frivola. This is a nice one because I can show you how he sets it up basically. He gets to the over-under where Ziam has an underhook on this side, Frivola obviously has an underhook here. Ziam's going to drop his weight on that elbow and get it as close to Frivola's hip as possible. There, grabs the middle, picks him up, dunks him. This one he just comes in on a single so he doesn't need to kill that underhook. And this works as a double attack with a technique that I don't see really anyone else doing once he's squashed this underhook. Something I noticed, that another thing about being really long is you can go like elbow deep when you grab the legs. If you get the crook of your elbow behind the opponent's knee, very hard for them to sprawl out of it. If you watch GSP, all of his double legs, he gets the elbow deep behind the knee. But this time, instead of having his head on the inside, he's got his head on the outside. He's going to attack the single on this leg with his head on the outside, but he lifts in a different way. Instead of bringing this foot in and throwing the guy that way, this foot is going to the middle, and he's just going to hoist that knee up in the air. Simple, eh? Same shit. Squashes the underhook, gets underneath the taint, left foot in, picks him up, and he drops him on his head. Here's a nice little sequence. Ziam's right leg here. He's going to kick it back and then put it behind Sadikov's there, and he's going to push Sadikov over it in what's sometimes called a tabletop. J-Flow has some good stuff on this. Justin Flores. Kicks back, steps over, there you go, turns him round off it, and now he's going to squash that elbow. Sag himself down to the hips. Lock his hands under the taint, and him on his head again, or at least try. And this is the standard body lock throw that I was talking about Khabib trying to get earlier. That's what McGregor was working to deny Khabib. Here Ziam shoots a long shot from all the way across the cage, locks his hand under the taint, and he's going to do the pickup again, where he dunks Figlak on his head outside single. And again, it probably helps being super tall when you do this. It's quite interesting because a lot of the finishes for single legs involve lifting the other guy's leg as high as you can, getting his foot up on your shoulder. And you watch Mateusz Gamrot do that to people like Arman Sarukian and Rafael Fiziev, and they just hop back as far as they can, and then their foot slips off the shoulder eventually. Whereas if you get the guy's knee up as high as possible, he doesn't have that same wiggle room. Bonk. And if we compare that to when Ziam fights someone more his own size, Jai Herbert, he attacks the same head inside single, but you can see he stands up and Jai Herbert's not even nearly the same distance off the floor. He's not in the same lack of control as everyone else. And that's where you need those neat foot sweeping techers and timing that Khabib has. But Ziam came into the UFC billed as a striker, and he's kind of mid as a striker, to be honest. As a fence wrestler, he's really come into his own, but he's worked out something very cool, that when the guy is in a grueling fence wrestling match or grappling match, his hands are often not in position to defend himself, so he's had fantastic success with elbows on the break when the guy's trying to stand up, spinning elbows, knees, just because the guy's hands are down. So this is a spinning elbow against Figlak that really badly hurt him. Here he catches Frivola coming up from the floor. Look at Frivola's hands completely occupied with the grappling portion of the fight. So what I'm saying is, being tall is great. Gives you free advantage that you don't need super technique for. But it is an advantage that you have to use. You know, people like Stefan Struve gave up their own reach by trying to run in and uppercut people. You know, we watched Taliesin Teixeira get swarmed every time he fights now. But there's a lot of ways to use it that aren't just stand back and jab. Anyway, Ziam's fighting this weekend. He's good fun. Get in on the Patreon to get my preview podcast, and I'll catch you Monday if you don't. Cheers.